The global economy is expected to grow by 5.5% this year. For small and medium enterprises, SMEs, how is this sector formulating strategies in challenging times? What are the current consumer trends? What is the best approach to boost business transactions with ways to build digital resilience? Reshaping SMEs beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. These and more in just a moment. Good evening and welcome to another episode of Money Matters with me, Zahir Kelvin Ong Abdullah. We have in the studio with us SME Association of Malaysia President, Datuk Michael Kang. Thank you, Datuk, for being on Money Matters.
Thank you. Good evening.
I'd like to start off by asking you the issues that are most urgent or pressing for SMEs at the moment and which sectors are still badly affected.
I think for the moment, I think the most important, the sector which is tourism-related industry, because they are really badly affected from day one. I think they have been affected more than a year. I think they are the ones related industry are always facing all the problem because they're not allowed to operate. They're not allowed, they don't have any customer because wherever industry a lot of people related to the peoples, and include event organizer or even include the education sectors or enrichment center. I think all those are really badly affected during this pandemic. They are the ones who are crying for help. They hope that the government can allow and open up, for them to operate. Okay,
what about the other sectors? What problems are they facing?
I think the problem they're facing is they're not allowed to operate because when they operate, they have a lot of concern because of the government had to take care of the public health, and also they have no choice, because of we don't have enough currently to protect the people. So when you are traveling, they contact, all this, they are the problem they're facing. So against it, when they're not allowed to operate, then they cannot find their cash flow. So they had to spend the money, to pay the salary, to pay the rental, to pay all the expenditures. So that is one that really affect those industries.
But the government has been giving aid and packages to help them. So has this also assisted the SMEs?
Definitely. Those packages definitely helped a lot to SME, but this is not the important part. I think when I talk to the SME, most of the SME, they ask if government to allow them to operate so that they can find their own cash flow, so that they can protect themselves, how to control or how to survive together with the COVID-19. So at the same time, they can take care of their own living hope, so that they can take care of their business, that they generate their own cash flow.
Yeah. Yes. So obviously, has the government been engaging the SME Association of Malaysia in terms of what basically needs to be done?
Definitely, the government always engaging with not only our SME Association, with also others associations, other industry. We have been keep on dialoguing, keep on discussing, especially MITI. I think I need to say that MITIs are doing very well. They have been engaging. They have been voice out for the industry to help the industry, to hope that the industry can operate, then continue to develop the country economy.
Right.
Yes.
Now, the challenges for SMEs include financial, supply chain disruption, decrease in demand, reduction in sales and profit, among other things.
Yes.
So, I mean, with the COVID-19 pandemic, this is not something that everybody expects. So, no one was prepared for it. Every sector is basically affected. So, where SMEs are concerned, how basically can they handle a situation like this, or how are they handling a situation like this?
I think the most important during this pandemic, a lot of SME, they have to find a solution. They have to try to innovate themselves. They have to restructure or rebuild, rebrand or restart their own business. During this pandemic, there are no certain areas which are not able to generate cash, to generate the cash flow, or spending money, I think they have to chop away, they have to cut, cut whatever expenditures. They're focused on their unique point, which is able to generate cash for the company to survive, to innovate, to change, to transform their business into the current situation. When during pandemic, definitely it's totally different on the traditional way of doing business. They have to new way, new norm, new way of running their business. That's why they have to change their mindset and to move into the new area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about SMEs scaling down. So
yes.
do you know how many SMEs have sort of scaled down or basically ceased operations due to the pandemic?
I think during this pandemic, we did the survey from the day one, after the March, last year, March 18, until today, we did quite 3 or 4 survey. I think from the survey, they respond almost about 30% to 50%, they have been scaled down during that time, but still got 50% are still maintained. They did not scale down. They still continue to operate because most of them are in essential services, so they are able to continue to provide their operation. So only those who are not allowed to operate, they are not in essential services, they have been scaled down because after 6 months operation, they're scaled down. But some of them, even about 20%, they're totally shut down. But they're shut down, they're not because of closed down. They're just rest for their response. When they respond from the SME, they say they're going to rest for the 6 months, see what happened, have the restructure internally and restart their business. This is a lot, yeah.
Okay, Datuk Michael, we've just got to go for a very quick commercial break, but when we come back, I'd like to ask you on the best approach to boost business transactions. So we'll discuss more on revitalizing SMEs in these challenging times. But before that, find us on Twitter and share your thoughts on the discussion. You're still tuning in to Money Matters as we speak to SME Association of Malaysia President Datuk Michael Kang. Now, Datuk, before we went for the commercial break just now, you talk about SMEs looking at the cash flow.
Yes.
So is there a particular method that's being used for them to look at their cash flow?
Definitely, the SME have to special look into their cash flow. You see, they have to calculate their own cash flow during this pandemic. You know, how much the cash on hand, then how much they owe to the suppliers, how much they can collect from the vendors or from their customers, you know, all those, and then can they get any aid from the government, especially during this pandemic? Governments also allocate fund, to a special loan, pre-Hatin on the SME loan for the SME. So this is why they have to calculate on this cash flow to overcome, include the expenditures, like wages subsidy, how to claim from the government so that they can maintain their staff. All these are SME have been done, during this pandemic. So they focus on the product or on the business which can able to generate cash. Like even some of them, they innovate, they change their business models, they went online, so they can communicate with their customer, they continue to their business online, although it's pandemic, although it's lockdown, but they're still able to generate their new business and cash flow.
Right. So what we mentioned just now was that I was going to ask you on the best approach to boost business transactions, right? So the gradual reopening of more sectors, which we are seeing now, and the 30% work from office rule has now been abolished since April the 1st. What is the impact on the SMEs?
I think the impact on SMEs, as we always say, the SME, they never have those experience before. So you get their staff to work from home. I think there's a big challenge for the SME because a lot of things they always do for the past traditional way. They work in the office, so everything ad hoc basic. A lot of work, the job done is ad hoc basic. So when it comes to the work from home, they have to plan ahead, a month or 2 months or 3 months ahead, so that what's supposed to do at home, how to do it, make sure they can meet their business on the operation side. So all these are quite challenge for the SME. That is why when all this outlive, then they can come back to the office and work. But at the same time, when you come back to the office, then you face another challenge. We talk about SOP. You need to keep the social distance. You need to follow the whole SOP. To make sure every staff are protected on the health. So this is all have been challenge for the SME. That is why SME have to overcome. For the last 1 year, more than a year, they have learned all this method.
So looking at revitalizing SMEs in these challenging times, Datuk, like you mentioned just now, the assistance accorded to the SMEs has been very much welcome. So how has this assistance helped revitalize their businesses during this period?
I think during this period, governments, when we talk to government, when we propose to the government, also at the same time, we need the really assistance from the government, especially on because they are run out of cash flow, so they had to pay the staff wages to the staff. Since the government allocate the wages subsidy, this is to really help a lot for the SME. And the other one is, I think the most important, the government have been budgeted on the digitization grant. So that grant from the first package until the last package, every packages there is a digitization grant to assist SME transform into the digitals, operation in digitals, and how to use technology to operate their business, work from home, and then provide additional assistance when the staff work at home. The additional tax incentive include the grant to purchase the equipment, all those, online system. All these are digital marketing fund. This is what really helped the SME to transform from a non-digital operation until the online digital operation.
Right. Yes. Now, Bank Negara has said that some recovery in the business environment was seen in the second half of 2020.
Yes.
So does this include SMEs?
Yes, definitely. Second half, there have been recovery for the SME after the pandemic, after they allowed to open up all the sectors. When they start operating, only certain sectors are not allowed to operate. The most of the sector are allowed to operate. That's why SME start recovering in the second sector. There are a lot of SME have been recovered. That's why you can see the SME business start picking up during the quarter three, quarter four, yes.
Right. Now, let's look at protecting against the pandemic shock, so to speak. 31% of SMEs are making investments now
Yes.
to ensure that they are prepared for an economic turnaround.
Sure.
So can we see this move as a proactive measure to protect against further shocks in the pandemic?
I think that is why I say, this I mentioned, the government, with the government assistance on the moving to digitization, so a lot of grant the government have been allocated for the SME. That's why you can see the currently a lot of SME have been more than 31% of SME have been start reinvest in their business on their new models, new way of doing business. That's why with the government assistance, the SME foresee the business will be recover soon. So you can see the only just about a month's time after the second wave, third wave of the pandemic lockdown, I think business start picking up. So SME are ready to move forward and to pick up their business and recover and to help the economy in development on the business.
So you talk about development, right? So developing broader plans.
Yes.
What new potential areas can SMEs capitalize on?
The new area that I always tell the SME, you have to still focus on digitization. On to digital your business, to use technology to operate, to run your business, focus on export business. Don't focus on only Malaysia. We have only limited population here. You can see during the pandemic, for last 1 whole year, those who are not affected is those businesses that are doing export. Those who are doing export, their business have been increased almost 100 to 200%. So here I will encourage more SME to move forward using technology to do international business.
Right.
Yes.
I'll have another question for you when we come back from our final commercial break on SMEs building digital resilience for survival. So we're taking another breather right now. Stay with us with Money Matters. Thank you for staying with us on Money Matters. We're with Datuk Michael Kang, SME Association President. Datuk, yes. What you mentioned just now about getting the SMEs to go digital, right?
Yes.
So how are SMEs adopting new and more digital ways of doing business? Because obviously, like you mentioned just now, some of them, it's new for them.
Yes.
And obviously, they need revenue or they need funds to basically go more into digitalization. So how can they do that?
I think, yes, this is true. You know, a lot of SME facing a problem is they don't have the fund to adopt digitals. I think government, that's why I just mentioned that the government have allocated a lot of fund, you know, digital grant, giving away grant, matching grant, one-to-one. Not only on digitals, online, you purchase any equipment, any software which you have purchased on online business, then you can have enjoyed the grant. If you spend 10,000, government give you 5,000. So that means you only spend 5,000 ringgit. This is the grant the government give away. Not only this grant, if you don't have additional money, government also giving the loan, special digitization loan. This is on digitization. They're about technology. When you adopt any technology, like to reskill your business, to reduce the numbers of workforce, and to operate into, to move into the AI, you know, to move into the industry 4.0, government also giving you additional fund and matching grant, one-to-one, so that not even, I think more than that, some of the company government give more than 70%, you only pay 30%. Yeah. So government pays 70%, depend on the, how complicated, what kind of fund you are allocated.
Yeah, but is there a criteria for SMEs?
Yes, definitely. That's why if you're in manufacturing, the government give you, they give you the industry 4.0 grant to matching, so government will do the assessment on your business, then what kind of technology you need, then they will recommend what kind of business, what kind of technology, how to implement to increase your productivity. Right. This one part, then to reduce the numbers of workforce so that we can move into the automation, use technology to operate your business. This is very important for the SME, so that because everyone we know that SME, a lot of SME for the past, they are very traditional, they use a lot of laborers, they use a lot of foreign workers. I think during this pandemic, we are not allowed to bring in any more foreign workers, so SME facing a lot of challenges on the workforce. So I think that's the best time during this pandemic. A lot of SME move into the digital, adopt technology in automation. I think this is very important. Not only the grant, government also giving the soft loan for whoever adopt in the technology, which is MIDF, you can get it, even MDEC also have the digitization loan and grant as well. Right. So all these are assistance from the government.
Right. Yes. Do you have any figures? What is the percentage of SMEs that have embarked on this digital journey?
Okay. During the pandemic, before the pandemic, I think less than 15% of SME have digitized their business, or even if you talk about go online or go to the or reach the internet access, you know, all those. I think less than 30%. I think almost about now. When we did the survey, when we checked with the most SME after this round, I think more than 50% of SME have slowly adopted into digitals. Yeah.
Okay. Now, earlier you said the SMEs can focus also on exports, but how can they do this in these challenging, many challenging external situations?
You see, why I say that the SME should focus on export. You see, every country facing the same problem. Pandemic, they also locked down. They're also facing a shortage. They are not able to operate. They are not able to produce whatever product they need for their country. So they have to buy from other countries. You know, so if we allow, we allow to operate, so a lot of export business start increase. Why? Because we allow to do export. So then government also encourage SME to export. Even this Prima Casa, the latest package government announced, the export grant from 300,000 increased to 500,000 per company. So every company allowed to claim from the matrix on the export, you know, promotion grant from 300,000 now per company can claim 500,000 grant from the government to subsidy for doing export business. Matrix also run out a program called e-trade, e-trade program. So SME can post their products and promotion through online, all the exhibit their products, go through online business. That's why technology is very important. Right. SME have to adopt technology, yes.
So looking forward, reshaping SMEs beyond the pandemic, right? With the COVID-19 National Immunization Program underway, what do you think is the outlook for the SME sector for 2021 and beyond?
I think beyond, SME no longer able to survive, operate under using the traditional way of operation. They have to adopt new technology. They have to adopt technology, adopt digital to run their business. This is the way to survive. So with the technology, adapt with the technology and the digital, they can increase their productivity, reduce their workforce, and moving forward, and you can connect to global. This is very important for the SME. SME have to change, to make a big change in their operation.
Right. So again, it goes back to looking at digitalization again for the SMEs. So as SMEs basically continue to face these challenges, what type of roadmap do you think can be drawn up as possible solutions, again, looking ahead in the future?
Again, the roadmap, you can see government also announced the digital economy master plan for the next 10 years. So SME should follow the master plan, how to adopt, because 5G is at the corners, so SME can adopt all the technology and IR4 and move forward for their business to increase their productivity, use more robot to run their business, to reduce the manpower. So we need the whole operation into the digitals and online business and technology to operation on their operation.
But again, Datuk, it goes again to how many SMEs are willing to adapt to this change of digitalization. So it's also changing the mindset, right?
Yes, they have to change their mindset. SME have to change their mindset. That's why I say SME have to change their mindset. They have no way to stay at the old traditional way of doing business. They're going to phase out. If they don't change it, they definitely have to phase out in next 3 years.
Right.
Yes.
Datuk Michael Kang, thank you very much for appearing on Money Matters. It's been a pleasure having you with us.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you for joining us on this episode of Money Matters. We really appreciate your company. Please join us again next week, same day and time, for another in-depth discussion with more money insights that matter. Until next time, I'm Zahir Kelvin Ong Abdullah. Thank you for watching and stay safe.